Hi there. Okay, this video is going to be about mm, straightening ourselves out, unwinding, getting rid of tightness inside our core, inside our body, and we should know that if we are tight, if the whole trunk, the torso, the spine, the core area, if it's frozen, like a piece of frozen meat. It's not flexible, it's not strong, it's actually weak. It's prone to injury, doesn't give you a lot of flexibility, strength. And you can't do a lot of things. You probably would not even be like totally straight. You could even be like with a curve, like hunched like this. And you stay like this. You can't. It's very hard to break out of that curvature. And once you have that kind of condition, other things come in, like for example there could be mobility issues, difficulty in walking, difficulty in balancing, and harder to, of course, if you want to swim, harder to swim, less efficient. You could use more energy for everything. You're literally having to fight yourself. There's a lot of friction inside. So how do we get out of this mess? How do we untangle ourselves? How do we undo the knots? Okay, so I have a exhibit for this video, and I prepared it. It's made of elastic, elastic band that you have usually around the trousers. And I just took two pieces and I tied one knot here. I did knot, and then I just put hitches, or I don't know what you call them, some knots, just knots, and right to the top, and then another dead knot here, just boom, like that. So imagine this to be our spine, or the nerves that traverse our spine in a helix, like, or energy that flows in the helix, like this helix, So it's at the bottom it is locked, at the top it's locked, and over here you get more and more tension. I mean, of course it could be stretched out, but it is it could be realigned if you use your body weight, or use strong force to just very symmetrical arrangement, and you get yourself aligned. It's possible. Chiropractors do that. They put you flat on the back, and then it goes like that. Oh, okay, but anyway, we're not doing that. We have this mess, and first, before we undo the mess, we got to figure out why this mess happened. Okay, you could be born like this, very possible. And then you have like this, crooked on one side. When I was young, I was like totally twisted also, like this. I was walking like this. People walk like this. I used to walk like this, and I couldn't kneel down and put my toes out like this, and then go down like this. I couldn't. I mean, it was so stiff, totally twisted up. So plenty of knots in there. It was like, instead of like this normal, it was like this, and it couldn't go further. It was just stuck like that. So this video is going to explain how we get out of this mess, because this mess is bringing suffering to most people. It brings pain, it brings arthritis, it brings joint degeneration, loss of mobility, loss of quality of life. It really destroys us. We don't want to get destroyed prematurely. When we could have a better life. When things could actually be made a lot more easier. So how did it all start? Okay, this starts because we either inherited, born with it, or we created it halfway. Somewhere along the way we created this mess. And how do you create mess? Okay, it comes from the fact that all of us have a reptilian mind. We have a reptilian mind to protect ourselves. You see, we need to survive in a very tough jungle out there. I mean, it's not a play school out there. It's tough world. So we are on our toes. We are very alert. We are in a state of we are always very what do you call it? We could be afraid, but we are stressed up. We are tense. And whenever a situation arises where we see a threat or perceive a threat to our life or to our well-being, immediately there's this automatic reflex known as the fight or flight reflex. So you either have to run for your life, just run like hell, or you gear up to use violence on somebody else, to in self-defense. So the only problem is in the primitive times, in the prehistoric times, if that kind of situation emerged, you actually you follow up. You really follow up and do what your body has primed itself to do. You go and kill somebody, kill the enemy or the beast that is trying to attack you, or you head for the hills. You run like you just go boom, and then you disappear. But you use your energy. That energy that is primed up is used up. It gets depleted. It gets used up, and it's natural. And if that happens, it happens in all animals. Two ducks fight. Bah, 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 bah. After that, they just walk away, and they're like nothing happened. It's like they do it naturally. So humans, unfortunately, we have a mind that somehow is programmed to remember anything that is life-threatening. Anything that threatens our security, our well-being, we remember it better. So when bad things happen to us, we keep it in there. And the problem is that it's not only in here, but also in the body. The body has also memory. And when we have a lot of tension built up, ready to fight, ready to run, and we don't execute it to completion, to finish the process. This energy, it's tremendous energy, it's built up in there. Nervous tension is built up in there, and it gets embedded. And if this repeats day after day, because life is so stressful, if it keeps going on, layer after layer, embedded in your core, usually it stays in the core. Also the legs, plenty of this in the lower body, because the legs have huge muscles. Then you get this. You get this. And a bit of unwinding happens at night if you have a good night's sleep. Somehow, your breathing pattern changes. You go into a state of the breath goes down, stays there for a while, then it goes up, in and out, breathing, and then it stays at the top as well for a while before going down. So your breathing cycle or the period is lengthened, and when that happens, you relax. What happens when you relax? Okay, the joints open up, the ligaments let go of the tension, and then you forget yourself. And it's like when you get drunk as well, you forget yourself, and then all those ligaments let go, and then you relax, and the joints open up. So your spine could actually elongate, without having to stretch yourself, on the chin-up bar. You just loosen up, you unwind. And I read somewhere that said one guy who couldn't swim, he was drunk, and then he didn't know himself. He fell into the water, but he didn't drown because he floated. So if you're totally relaxed, you float anyway. Okay, so let's get back to this. What are we going to do about this? So if you want to start unwinding this thing, the first thing you got to do is stop creating more tightness. So if you don't create more tightness and you start unwinding this with maybe exercise, with going for morning walks, doing some some tai chi, or some anything that can relax you, it helps. But if you keep piling on the rubbish day in, day out without stopping, minimum effect, minimum benefit. So because it's not going to do much, anything significant. So you got to learn how to stop putting in more tension into your life. And to do this, Yeah, I got to use a bit of something I learned from the internet. You use Madhu Vidya or Brahmacharya. Some people think Brahmacharya is abstinence, no sex, no ejaculation, no sex. But it's not true. Brahmacharya uh, was explained in by a Russian guy. He is a very good, uh, very good yogi. Won't mention the name, but he I give credit to this guy. He knows it, and he said it's that you eat the divine, in everything you touch, you meet. That means you eat, and what you eat becomes part of you. That means you are merging and interacting with people, and you see the divine in them. You see goodness in them. You see things that are holy in them, and you bring out the best in people that you meet. So what happens? You avoid conflict. You avoid. I mean, you could go to a group of very tough-looking people, stare at them, and start gesturing at them, and then you're inviting them to beat you up, and they will oblige. They will beat you up. So you invite conflict. But if you go there, looking pleasant, being courteous, polite, unless they are trying to mug you or trying to really fix you, usually you will not attract trouble, you see. So brahmacharya is like this. You go around, you try to bring out the best of people, and the Buddhists will say you bring out the Buddha and other people, that kind of thing. And and then the Christians would probably say, you got to love your brethren, just like yourself, and the Taoists would say, you treat others like what you want to treat others to treat you. So you show them respect, you show them the kind of treatment that you would also like to receive. So that's how it works, and and that makes life very sweet. That's why it's Madhu Vidya, it's knowledge of sweetness. Madhu actually means honey, so honey is sweet, and Vidya, okay, knowledge. So you just things that normally would turn out bad, would pan out bad, suddenly have a better ending. It works out like win-win. You give a bit, and you take a bit. Nobody is a complete loser. So, and you walk through this life in a better way. So you don't accumulate so much tension in your interactions, your transactions in your daily life. Don't create the tension for these things. So that's the first thing you got to do. And once you have more or less become gentle enough and able to come out from the I don't know how to call it. They are good words to use, in various disciplines. You could say if you're with the Tao, or if you're using your Buddha wisdom, or if you're in the kingdom of God, or if you, with the Brahman, or if you are, if you don't have this ahamkara, that means you don't have that, you don't abide in your ego, but you abide in something which is better, that way immediately things change. The whole the worldview, your worldview changes, and changes for the better. It makes you a better person. You're not so full of yourself anymore, and that's important because all this happened because we became very full of ourselves. We needed to get something done. We wanted our way. And it gets stuck in here. So to slowly unwind this, okay, can you unwind this from in between? You can't. There's no way you can break this out in between. You can't, because the only way you could do that is to cut your nerves, cut your body, and just break your body into two, and then maybe you can unwind it from here. But as long as you want to be still in one piece, the only way is either unwind it from up here, this knot here, the dead knot I tied here, or you unwind it from down here, the knot at the bottom, and that means here, or at your sacrum, at the lower back, the tailbone, where it sits on the pelvis. And that's where you can unwind, because it's where the spine starts. See, spine starts from the sacrum, tailbone, goes all the way up to the C1, cervical vertebra, which connects it to the skull. Yeah. Okay. So that part you have a possibility. You know, and then down there also possible, but down there is more complicated because your legs are usually full of tension. You know, it's full of this stuff, full of it. I think the Taoists call it in energy, embedded in energy. Could say that it's a really a storehouse for samskaras, full of it. So if you want to work on the bottom, you got to lock up the legs, because if you don't lock up the legs, it's not going to work. So what you do is you do the full lotus, Padmasana, and when you do the full lotus, you lock up the effect of the legs on your upper body. So now your upper body can be independently worked on without the inherent problems that are embedded inside your legs. So you now work without the legs, okay, but you can then work on this one, make it more relaxed and so on, you know. Yeah, so this is one way, you know, maybe fire path, you know, going up from bottom to the top. But there are others who say, okay, let's work from the top to the bottom. Water path, you know, water flows down like a waterfall, you know. So which one is more gentle? I think water path is better. Of course, maybe you start with the fire path, boom, you know, see a lot of lights, but it doesn't bring you that far, you know. It just tells you it's just beginning. Then after that, you say, okay, now I need to go down again, you know, the water path. Now, how to do the water path? How to do all this? Okay, we thought about reversing the process, you know. We talked about going underwater, collapsing inwards. We talked about, you know, those nuts on the car wheel, you know, tightening them instead so that they can loosen up and so on. But yogis do one more thing. They do inversions. So one yogi told me, he said, this was one guy, you know, I meet quite regularly. He said, watch that class of hatha, people doing hatha yoga, you know, this class, they normally do a lot of inversions. It means handstands, headstands, shoulder stands. They do a lot of those things, and as to bring the prana upwards, you know, and that's the I think they call it the Udana Vayu, you know, the one that goes up. So you go upside down so that your prana can go up. Because when you're upside down, the effect of gravity is in the reverse direction. It helps you to unravel, and you have more possibility to free up, you know, some nadis. You know, some nadis are the energy pathways for energy to flow upwards. So if we are very diligent and we start to work like this, yeah, we could actually find out that there are 5 ways to get rid of this embedded tension, you know, and it's not going to come from inside here. It has to be done like this with the either end, yeah. So you will realize your hands are the extension of the heart, you see. It comes from here somehow. So when this is very tight, if you can move your wrist, move your fingers, you know, some people they show on the internet, you know, you shake like this, you know, and then you go like this, and then you shake again, you flutter your hands, you know. Some people they say, okay, you hit like this, and so on, hit like this. Okay, many ways. But you have a possibility, you know, it's easy. If somebody asks you to shake your body like this, you can't. It's tight. It's totally not. It's rigid. You can't do it. It's an impossible task. So you have to start somewhere, and starting somewhere means working on the extremities. So you'll realize you have the hands, you have the fingers, you have the wrist, probably this, maybe here, and on the lower limbs, the same thing. You have the feet, which sometimes are already tight, and you have the knees. Okay, flexion there is quite okay normally, and a bit of the hips, you know, at the ball and socket joint, but very little for most people who are tight at the sacrum. It's not going to be able to fold nicely because most of people they have a bad posture, you know. They sit like this, they slouch. So when you slouch, the muscles on the front, the anterior over here, they tighten up, and they tighten up to the level where they remain tight, you know. And then the opposing muscles at the back, the lower back, because they are forced to be stretched out like this when you are slouched into a curve like this. These muscles here, they atrophy. Atrophy means they weaken. They no longer know how to pull and straighten the back properly, you know, and to fold your pelvic, your sacrum, your tailbone into the pelvis where it sits. That's where the whole spinal column is heavy, you know, where it sits on the pelvic bones. So the yeah, so the situation is going to improve for most people the moment they can start working inwards, from outside inwards. And those guys who do qigong, they say, you know, from white tan you change to nei tan. Nei tan means you're doing the inner energy works, or nei gong. So you progress that way, and yeah, and eventually one by one, no, somehow maybe at the beginning you need some grace, you know, you need some master, you know, to do Shaktipat Diksha or something like this. I won't go into details about this, but you got to undo this one, and if you do this one, undo this one, immediately you have more possibilities, you know, you can start undoing things. See, this one goes out, you know, and then this one goes out. Everything is unraveling, and it's really nice because eventually you get more free, you know, of those knots. So you straighten up. You can straighten yourself out. That's why when somebody is not behaving well, we say, hey, he needs to be straightened out. So we got to straighten ourselves out internally if we want to regain good posture, flexibility, and possibly good health and a good quality of life, where we interact well with others, where we treat others in the same way as we want others to treat ourselves. Okay, so this is the sharing for this video. Thanks very much for listening. Ciao.